Hey guys, I'm back.
So I totally forgot to tell you about my MRI results because I'm a doofus. Also,
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
but yeah, no signs of tumor growth, so everything comes up Dano. I also can't get this gosh darn Little Caesars commercial out of my head.
Little Caesar. Caesar, Caesar, banana, banana. Caesar, me, my. Little Caesar.
I don't know if it's the Nightmare Fuel puppets or this weird-ass slurp sound effect. Or maybe it's this actual sleep paralysis demon. I can't put my finger on the exact reason, but this just lives rent-free in my head. I can't believe that a bunch of professionals came up with this. Actual adults. The 90s were a crazy time. Like, was there a focus group? So many questions. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Wild Card Weekend in this one.
Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What? Oh, God! Oh, my God!
Since there's only 6 games to talk about, I'll be introducing a new segment. Disabled Danny Detroit Discussions. Me dunking on Chris Ilitch was an example. Because his super punchable smug-ass face represents every scumbag piece of shit businessman who's exploiting the city of Detroit for personal gain. On a positive note, every Detroit sports team is over 500 right now. Darren McCarty said the 20s are the decade for Detroit sports. We're officially halfway through, so it's time to start biting some kneecaps. The Lions are on a bye, like I said, so kneecaps are probably safe in the NFL this week. Cade Cunningham is out there biting kneecaps in the NBA, though. Seriously, he's playing out of his mind and putting the team on his back. The Red Wings really appear to have benefited from a coaching change. Despite lackluster ownership, the Yzer plan looks like it's working. There's a lot of NHL teams that are about to get their kneecaps bitten. So let's get into Wild Card Weekend. Wild Card Weekend was full of shit goose lunacy because of course it was.
I don't know what I expected.
For the first game of 6, the Los Angeles Chargers traveled to Houston to play the Texans. I almost said they traveled to Texas to play the Texans. Like, yeah, no shit, Dano. That game was back and forth until C.J. Stroud appeared to actually start playing. And since Dicker the kicker apparently doesn't understand dead ball rules. Does anyone really, though? Either way, that led to the Texans steamrolling the Chargers with a final score of 32-12. The Pittsburgh Steelers traveled to Baltimore to play the Ravens. There's always a lot of smash-mouth football whenever those teams play.
Hey now.
The Ravens ended up winning, but there isn't much else to say. The final score was 28-14, but the Ravens were in control the entire time. I mean, they have Lamar Jackson, King Henry, Zay Flowers, an elite defense.
I don't know what I expected.
The Denver Broncos had to travel to Buffalo and play the Bills, and Tony Romo called this game along with Jim Nantz. As a Cowboys fan, I watched a lot of his career. And the biggest takeaway I get from hearing him call games is that he really understands the game of football, but he was just never as athletically gifted. You don't necessarily need to be athletically gifted to play quarterback, isn't that right, Tom Brady? But Tony Romo could never stay healthy. The fact that he was the literal antithesis of clutch and the fact that he was injury-prone as hell proves he belongs in the booth, not on the field. He calls games with Jim Nantz, and the Bills-Broncos game was his 100th cast. That's a pretty cool milestone. I just have to talk about this catch.
Big play here. Trying to go up top for it.
He wants to run for it, Jim. He wants to just go get it with his legs. He's trying to find
It wasn't there, so now he's got to throw it deep to the end zone. And was that caught? Yes! Ty Johnson scrapes it off the ground, above the ground for the touchdown. Did he?
It's really close.
It looks like he's got a hand underneath it.
What a throw and catch, but did the foot touch the backside?
Oh, that's
this
a good
is
point.
going to be a touchdown, most likely.
Well, he did a great job of securing the football.
Oh my goodness.
That's close about that
Gotta
foot
review
touching, and look at this. How he was able to keep a hand underneath the ball.
That's a touchdown to me.
Look at the effort here by Ty Johnson. Gene Steratore, what do you see?
I think he gets both of those feet up off the ground, Jim, and it's.
It was literally fourth down, do or die. And what does Josh Allen do? He just chucks the ball to the back of the end zone, trusting his guys to make a play. And of course the receiver made just a really athletic, nearly impossible catch. Seriously, I don't know how he had the wherewithal to get his feet up and not go out of bounds. Even Brandon Perna, who is a massive believer, agreed. The Bills won, so is he a believer now? I mean, the final score was 31-7. If there's one thing I know about Brandon Perna, he's still gonna believe. Okay, we can move on to the NFC now with the Green Bay Packers and Philadelphia Eagles game. That game started with Green Bay fumbling the ball on the opening kickoff. That unfortunately set up Philly with really good field position, and of course that led to a touchdown.
Well, I don't know what I expected.
Big Play Slay made a good defensive play by being an absolute ball hawk and getting a pick. Darius Slay played for the Lions a few years back. But Quinn Trisha chased him out of town. But yet just from the very first play it was obvious Philly was going to win, so I don't really have much to say about that. I'm sure Tom Brozzi does though. So the Washington Commanders traveled to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. Notice I'm respecting Washington by calling them the stupid-ass name they chose. It should be the Red Tails, but I don't make the rules. But Dan Snyder is gone, they're no longer named after a racist slur, so healing can begin. It's worth noting that 3 Heisman quarterbacks played in that game. You have Baker Mayfield on the Bucs, then Washington has Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota. The Commanders are the only wildcard team that actually won on wildcard weekend. So for Monday night, the Minnesota Vikings played against the Los Angeles Rams. California is dealing with some truly horrible wildfires at the moment, so the game was moved to Glendale, Arizona. Even though the loss of life and property is the priority, there was still a football game to be played. Luckily for Sam Darnold, he won't be remembered as the draft bust who saw ghosts.
Seen ghosts.
He'll be remembered for getting 14 wins in the regular season and only scoring 1 touchdown in the postseason. Good luck getting a contract, mate. I'm about to roll out, but remember to visit my website, disableddanny.com. I should probably come up with a creative way to tell you to subscribe and join my cult, the Dan Fam. But I won't because
I do what I want.
So subscribe to become Dan fans just for funsies. Remember to be gentle during that whole process.
Pizza.